Hello everybody and welcome to today's TimelyFit class on charging what you're really worth. Now today I have the lovely Maddi Cook with me. She's the creator of Boss Your Salon, a successful salon and training academy helping salon owners build the business of their dreams, and she's on a mission to help people in the industry charge what they're worth. So welcome along today, Maddi. How was your bank holiday weekend?
It was absolutely beautiful. Was in work yesterday, but playing out in the sun the day before, and I'll be also extending that to today. So really, really nice. Thank you.
That's always good. Can't beat a nice, proper sunny weather. I know you like to go swimming in the sea, don't you? So I assume that's a lot nicer when the weather's a bit nicer like today.
Easier.
Now, this is something I know you're very big on, is charging what you're worth. And I know you kind of said charging what your services are, or what you're not charging what your services are worth can have a big financial consequence on your business, but also affect your mental health and your personal health as well. How damaging can it be to undercharge in your business?
Massively. So I think the phrase, just to step back a tiny bit, charge your worth, is like everywhere, and people just throw it about, and I say quite a lot, but I think people are a bit like, well, what does that mean? Like, what is charging your worth? And sadly, some people are like, well, I don't feel worth that much, or I wouldn't pay this much for a set of nails. So maybe we need to step a little bit away from that and just think about what your pricing actually is. So your pricing isn't like this thing that just lives on a price list, or that lives on your booking system, or that lives on your website. Well, it is, but it's also something else really, really important. So what we charge, what you decide to charge, or what you perceive your worth to be, and what that is to your clients, that obviously has a very big link to what your profit is. In fact, it dictates what your profit is. So if your profit is not right, or it's too low, that then has a really, really big impact on the rest of your life. So if you don't make enough profit, you can't achieve sort of personal goals. You might have debt that you want to pay off that's not going to get done. You might not be able to save to buy a house or to go on holiday, or whatever those things are for you. But in its kind of worst case, you feel trapped working absolutely loads of hours because you're thinking, I need to work. You sometimes take on clients who are not ideal clients, that we maybe otherwise would say, oh, red flags, maybe we don't like you, which has a real big impact, because those people take up a very disproportionate amount of our time and capacity. But yeah, sitting up, lying up in bed at night going, oh my God, I've had this cancellation, I've got this bill that's coming out in a couple of days, will I have to cancel this thing? Can I not be there for my friend going to their wedding because now I have to work? And it's just this hamster wheel. So we have to think about the very kind of real day-to-day impacts that it has. And in a world where money makes the world go round, like it's really, really important that we are getting paid at least enough to sort of live comfortably and not stressed about things, because it's our business, it's our decision what we charge. So we are really in control of this.
And I think a lot of people kind of worry, don't they? Like, I know you've named them as limiting beliefs that we need to get rid of. But I think the most common one is that the people they're gonna lose clients, or people will leave. And I know you would really love people to stop listening to that. So look at, with limiting beliefs, there's like a scientific reason that we have them, right? And I don't want to go on like a full science lesson today, but there's a part of your brain, which is the survival part of your brain, and its job is to keep you alive, which is really cool. And what it does though in day to day is it keeps you in your comfort zone, because it's kind of like, oh, comfortable, safe, let's not go too far out of this. So actually, when we do things that are out of our comfort zone, such as think about, not even increase, but just think about increasing price, that part of the brain goes, whoa, wait a minute, this is terrifying. And it doesn't understand the difference between doing a price increase and like a saber-toothed tiger coming to rip your head off. It just works exactly the same way. So it fills your head full of this stuff that feels dead convincing, because it's you in your head, and goes, oh, well, this will happen. All your clients will leave. Everyone will think you're a horrible person. It's a pandemic. Like, who does that? That's really vile, taking advantage. No one has any money where you live, etc., etc., etc. But what we need to do is just look at the facts and go, well, in my world, have I ever done a price increase where all of my clients just left? No. And I've done one every year, sometimes twice a year, for 11 years, and that's never happened. Other facts, I work in an area where people charge £8 for cut and blow dry. I charge full 500 quid for extensions. They could pay half of that to someone 100 yards from my door, and they don't leave me to go to someone
you know, really, really cheap, because I communicate why I'm worth that much money, and they understand that, you know, they're happy with that value. I get emails and texts and screenshots literally every single day, and I have for the last year, because I've been talking about this for just over a year, from people going, what the hell? Loads of mind blown emojis saying, I'm not even, so what happens is they don't even lose clients. You might lose a couple of like bad fit clients, but that's okay. But sometimes they stick around for quite a while, and we have to get rid of them. What actually tends to happen is people attract clients. This is the thing people don't realize, is that if you're very, very low priced, that's actually quite off-putting to some really good clients. Like if I saw that £8 blow dry, cut and blow dry, I wouldn't go, oh, that sounds really good. Like that sounds like exactly what I want. I'd go, wow, that doesn't sound very good. And that's awful, because that person could be amazing. They could just have very, very low sort of self-worth.
I think you kind of think, why are they so cheap? That's the question that you start asking.
Yeah. You fill in the blank, rightly or wrongly, and go, well, maybe they're really bad, maybe they're not very experienced, maybe, you know, whatever's going on. So actually I prefer to pay this much, so I'm just going to look in this kind of price bracket. So what happens is when we lift our prices, we actually start to attract people who go, oh, that actually makes sense, because a blow dry should be this much, or nails should be this much, or extension should be this much, or whatever. Another really weird phenomenon that we've been seeing, and I have no idea why this is tips. I have so many people say, I've never really got that many tips in the past, because it's not as much of a thing, I suppose, in this country, or in the UK anyway. And they say, not only are people paying the higher price, but I'm getting tips, which is like, I don't really know why that is. All I can assume is that because we're kind of going, right, I am worth this, I'm going to, you know, put my neck out and say, I'm actually worth this price. That's almost like reflected back, and clients like, actually, yeah, you are. And I'm going to go further than that, and I'm going to then give you this on top. So we're not questioning it, we're just letting it happen, because it's a really nice thing. But yeah, what you think is on the other side of a price increase could not be further, really, from what it is. And this is, I've worked with over 7,500 people on pricing. Wow. So this isn't just me saying, oh, this happened for me, so it's the same for everyone. Like this is actual data from a lot of people, and they're all heron.
And how did it all come about? You say you've been talking about it for a year. How did you kind of come up with, because we're going to talk a bit more about your program a bit later, but how did it all come about?
Yeah, so I've had a salon for 5 years. I've been in the industry doing extensions for 11 years. And I started Bossy Salon about 3 years ago. So I just had a Facebook group, and it was just there to kind of help people out. And I did a couple of courses and stuff like in the last year or two. And actually in the beginning of the first lockdown, I was like, I just had my salon closed, and I was like losing my mind. And I thought, right, I'll just put 100% into Bossy Salon, and loads of people had loads of misinformation, and there's loads of stuff in groups flying around. So I thought, right, I'll get the info out to people. I'll kind of reassure them, point them in the direction where they need to be. And I just literally posted a status in the group saying, if I did some work around pricing, would anyone be interested? And I had hundreds of comments, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is a thing. Because I just kind of noticed a trend in the question just gets asked all the time in all the Facebook groups. How much does everyone charge for this? How much? And then people will say, oh, well, I'm in Newcastle, so I charge this, or I'm mobile, so I don't charge. And I was like, for ages, I was like, this doesn't work. Why do we keep doing this? So yeah, so then I thought, right, I'll make a thing. I built what turned out to be a calculator. Put that out, and people were like, oh, this works, we can charge our worth. And then I started doing my free education, so I do masterclasses and stuff. And obviously in lockdown 1, it just went absolutely wild. Like people were doing loads of education, which was a really cool thing, I guess, about the lockdown. There was so much of that out, and things like this as well. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And then when they went back in July, I was then starting to get like real figures from them and real experiences saying, wow, I didn't lose my clients, and X, Y, and Z happened. So, and I honestly thought I would do like 2 or 3 classes. I was like, oh, I'll just do them in lockdown, keep myself busy, and, you know, help a few people. And I've done about 150 of them.
Wow.
I've actually only done 1 this week, and my husband said, oh, you're slacking, because I've got stuff. He was like, oh, I can't believe you're not doing it. So I did 1 yesterday, my next one's the next week. And yeah, I do like 2 or 3 a week, pretty much every single week. And people still keep coming, because it's just such a universal problem. And I've got people from Australia and Canada, New Zealand, the States, Europe,
who all say this is us as well. This is not even just a UK thing. It's
like you say,
wide.
it's really common, isn't it? And you see it in groups day in, day out, of how much do you charge for this, or this person down the road is charging this, and I don't know what to do, or what do you guys charge? And it's every business is different. You know, we were chatting about it last week, and you know, like if you're in my salon, I was beauty, so I used to have a casing machine. You know, the machines are all the same. Once you've bought the machine, you've bought the machine. But depending on what product brand you're using alongside that, can have a massive impact in your profit margin. And I think a lot of the ownership as well comes down to businesses and sort of brands to say, you know, you need to be looking at your figures rather than them just saying, oh, you should be charging around this amount. You know, they need to kind of be teaching people how to do it, because we don't get taught how to price at all.
Well, yeah, I sort of survey people in the free class, and I'll say, yes or no, have you ever been taught how to work out your prices? And it's just no. And if they say yes, I say, tell me what you were taught. I've had ranges from, I was handed a piece of paper that says, here's an RRP with no explanation. I was given one based on location, which was like, oh, you're in the north, like peasant, you can charge less money. You are in the south, you get charged this much. Oh, thanks. I had one yesterday, very, very complex. I can't remember the full thing, but it's something like, take your products, multiply it by 2, do this, add 10. And I was like, why? I said, do you know why you do this? And she was like, oh, I don't know, just was told to do it. I was like, it sounds very impressive and like it might make sense, but it doesn't, like it doesn't mean anything. And that's it. And I think the big problem is that when we come into this industry, either through an apprenticeship or college or day training or whatever that is, private training, no one teaches us how to price. And I do understand it, because I do education in hair extensions, and there's obviously so much you have to teach of like the physical thing, like the skill, that there's very little time then to go, oh, by the way, this is how you do business and what have you. So when we come out into the industry, we just have no idea what we're doing pricing wise, or business. We don't know how to set up with a HMRC or pay tax or do accounts or any of all that stuff, which is why we always feel like we're winging it, which is a phrase I hear all the time. We're just floating about and hoping it works. And then when we go into the groups, because that's where we go now, in communities, and we find our kind of people online, that question gets asked every single day. So really quickly we go, oh, that's how we do things here in this industry, because all these people before me, all these kind of veteran hair and beauty people are going, oh, well, base it on where you are, or look at your competition, or base it on an average, or don't price yourself out of the market, whatever that means, or think about what people can afford where you live, and all of these. So it just cements really, really, really quickly and reinforces those limiting beliefs to go, oh, well, it must be true, because it's not just in my head, other people are telling me this as well. So I think there's loads of responsibility on educators in college. I mean, imagine if this stuff was in college when you first learned, like what massive differences will be to the whole industry.
And like you say, I think not only sort of pricing, but how to run the business, because all of that is going to come down to what you charge as well. You know, if you've got staff and you've got equipment and a building and all those kind of things, that's all going to make a big impact on what profit you're going to make from those services as well.
Yeah, definitely. And the things like cash flow and forecasting and like future planning and stuff like that. It's just, there's just all of the business stuff really. And then I think what happens is, like in my experience, because I didn't just come out the womb like knowing how to do this stuff. This was like self-taught about halfway through my career. So the first 5 or 6 years, I had no idea what I was doing. I was really cheap, really, really, really cheap. No boundaries, no policies, no deposits, cancellations, no shows. It was just hideous, because I was just so unconfident, and I thought that it was like rude to take deposits. I thought that would imply that I didn't trust the person. So you can imagine what a stressful time that was. It was awful. And then I think you just kind of grow, and maybe you get recommendations, and then you do get to a point where you're like, oh, I have a business and I'm making a bit of money, but you don't really know how you got there, and you still feel a bit of a fraud, like oh, I don't feel like I'm a business person. So I think it's dead important for people to try and learn as much as they physically can about running a business, because we are business people. Same for like marketing, social media systems, obviously booking systems, and education that you guys do and stuff like that. And there's so much of it that's free or really, really cheap for us to access, because that's all I did. I just read, I went on courses, went on online things, and just was like, oh, I should probably know this stuff.
And is there a best way to kind of implement those new prices? Because obviously that's the bit that I think people worry about, isn't it? Is how do you communicate it? When should you do it? Is there a kind of set time every year? That kind of thing.
So in terms of timing, I just say you do it when you need to do it. So don't be too caught up on like, oh, I must do it on the 1st of April or the 1st of January. I do mine as soon as I need to. So because I do extensions, I have a handful of suppliers. They sometimes do their increases at different times in the year. And I have a rule of thumb, which is if I would be okay with this as an employee, as a minimum wage employee, then I'm okay. That's my baseline. If I wouldn't be okay, then I don't treat myself like that. So for example, if my suppliers put their price up, if I was employed and my boss said, oh, Maddi, our suppliers have all put their prices up, but I don't want to charge our clients anymore, so actually I'm just going to take that off your pay, I'd be like, no, that's not cool. So I don't do that to myself. So my increases from suppliers just get passed straight on, even if that means doing 2 in a year or whatever, just it is what it is. And the more you do it, clients just expect it. Like clients will say to me now, oh, when's your next price increase? Because they just know it's going to come. It always has to. Yeah, and I think don't give yourself too long a lead time. So people now are going, oh, I'm going to do mine on the 1st of August. I'm like, why the 1st of August? Why not the 1st of July or the middle of June? People often say like, should I honour prices for some people, and how does that work? My own opinion is if someone's paid a deposit or a booking fee, I'm like, yeah, I would keep them on that price for that one, because I think you've kind of entered into an agreement, like a contract. So I would, and I just say, right, any appointments booked after such a time, or you could even just email and go, my prices have changed. If you were in the diary, you get that price. Anything going forward is this. When you communicate it, less is definitely more. I have just three don'ts when it comes to communicating. Don't apologize, don't justify, don't waffle. We see some absolute war and peace statuses. I got one from I'm a member of a local, it's like a pub football club thing, and they sent me an A4 sheet of paper about why the prices have gone up for like pints.
Oh my god.
I literally don't even care. I couldn't tell you how much it cost. So yeah, we don't want to say like I'm sorry or unfortunately or it's out of our control as a pandemic and gloves are expensive and all of this like really negative stuff. We just go, prices are going up. Thanks so much for being a client. I can't wait to see you. This is where you'll find them. They're online. That's it. Yeah, because you don't want to invite loads of questions. It's just like, this is it. I'm telling you something. Do whatever you want with that information, not like woe is me, you know, I'm having a terrible time, or I have to.
I think other places don't do that. You know, we'll go to the supermarket and the prices go up and down and here, there and everywhere, and you don't question it, and they don't write to you to tell you that, you know, your price of bread's going to go up from last week.
I know, like imagine walking into Sainsbury's and there's like a big sign going, look, I'm ever so sorry, but cost of bread just through the roof, you know, wheat's, you know, can't get a hold of it, and we've had a really bad year and all this. So with the greatest respect and gratitude, bread's going to go up in 6 weeks. No, you just go up and go, oh, it's bread. But
no, like, that's more expensive than it was last week. Like you just buy it.
That's it. It's what we do, isn't it? But I always did say, and I kind of still think that we should give notice on it, but it was mainly because most of my clients are regulars. The vast majority of my clients I've done for like at least 5 years. And I think they know what their prices are. They say if it's a refit for extensions or something where they come in regularly, like nails or beauty. I sort of think it's fair to tell them, because I would hate if a client came in, put the card in the machine and it declined or it took them overdrawn because it just budgeted that amount. So I think for transparency, it's fine to do it, absolutely. Although I do know loads of people who say, no, I don't announce it because the shops don't, and, you know, petrol stations don't, and what have you. This is the first time ever in this April when I went back that I didn't make like a proper announcement, because I just wanted to test what happened. What I did is I put my prices on Instagram and I pinned them as highlights, so they're on my Instagram and it says 2021 prices. And then when they book it, they obviously see what the price is, and there was just no issue at all. So whatever feels comfortable for you, and I think depending where your price point is, I think sometimes the higher you are, you might feel like you want to tell people so they can budget for it, but it's just totally personal. But like I say, just don't feel really tempted to have to go down this apologetic kind of ramble.
And I think some people kind of really justify it, don't, like you say, you know, don't justify it, but they kind of really justify it, like this has gone up and this has happened and this has happened.
Yeah.
And it's like the clients don't care about why,
No.
with all respect to them, they really don't care about, you know, why the price has gone up. They just want to know how much it's going to cost to come and get their hair done or come and get their nails done.
Yeah, that's the one bit of info they need. And you don't want to kind of guilt them either, and you don't want to make them feel bad that we're having a bad time. That's, I don't know, it's like, just frames it in this really negative way, and I think it's not. What we do is really positive, and we're better off then writing another post just about how amazing we are and why we're so good at nails and this education we've been doing, and so clients can go, oh, that's the value, like it's totally worth this price, without us going, please give us more money, things are expensive. Like, we change it to like a positive thing, so they go, oh, I actually get really good value for money because you're really highly skilled and you make me feel really good and you do the work that I really like and all of that stuff.
Do you have any advice for people who might get those phone calls where people will say, oh no, you're too expensive, or, you know, sort of how to handle those objections?
Yeah, so again, very short and sweet. So if I get a message saying how much, no hello, no question mark, just how much, thank you, or I'll send a price list or whatever, and they'll go, wow, that's expensive, or oh, that's too much, that's too expensive. I'd say thank you for your feedback. My prices are non-negotiable. And I just say, if you want to tell me what your budget is, I'll recommend you to someone else. And people are like, why do you recommend them to someone else? That's weird. And I'm like, well, it's really confident, and it like really solidifies how confident I am in my prices to say, I'm prepared to put money in someone else's pocket that I don't know. I'm not going to benefit from this, because I will not work for a penny less than what I'm supposed to work. And what sometimes happens when you do that is clients are then like, oh, actually, can I come in with you? Because it's like a psychological thing. And maybe they just wanted a discount and they just wanted to chance their arm at like an offer, because there are a lot of offers in our industry. So I just say it like that. Some of them will say, oh, well, actually, you know, what ranges do you do, and do they last long? And they'll start to be like, there must be a really good reason why you're saying that.
Why you're charging that much?
Yeah. Or they just will never have the budget, and that's absolutely fine. They're not for you. It's, you know, it's impossible for us to meet everyone's budget anyway. So yeah, I just sort of thank them, non-negotiable, what's your budget? That's my kind of little couple of sentences. And you say you do
your classes kind of quite regularly. Obviously, we'll pop a link in the comments here. And we've also got in the description, there's a link to the blog, and it's in the blog as well. But we'll make sure everyone has access to your course, because I know there's bound to be lots of people kind of wanting to sort out their prices now that they've been back for a little while. How often, you say you run it quite regularly, your course, how can they access it and what do they get and that kind of thing?
So there's two different things. So there's a free Pricing and Money Mindset Masterclass. It's about 2.5 hours, because there's loads of it. And there's loads that we have to unlearn, and then we have to relearn a bunch of stuff. But everyone says it's very fast, and someone said it was the best 2.5 hours of lockdown. I can't promise that, but, you know, it's a great compliment. Instead, interactive, it's live. I can't see or hear you, so don't worry if you're like in the bath or whatever, or in your jammies. You'll see me, you'll hear me, and there's a chat box so we can interact and I'll ask questions and stuff like that. So I would probably start there, because we unpack loads of the mindset stuff in there. Then I'll talk about the calculator on that, just to be really transparent. At the end, I'll say, I have a calculator. If you get it as part of that class, you get 3 bonuses. So that's another kind of perk of doing that class as well. And it gets you exactly in the right mindset place to be like, yeah, I'm ready to do this and do the prices. But yeah, bring a pen and paper. There's loads to do. People have cried, like it's quite intense at times, because you have to reflect on, you know, self-worth and value and your goals and where you are in life and stuff like that. So there's a lot in it, but it's not scary. And then the pricing calculator, it's actually 3 things. It's a calculator, it's an online course which sort of supports the use of that, and it's a Facebook group as well, which is just for people who use the calculator, which has become like the Wikipedia of pricing. Like everything about pricing lives in this group. So it's a really supportive group, and people go and cheerlead each other, and they'll come back in and go, I did it and this happened. And it's just a really, really nice place where people can feel dead supported to go in, charge their worth.
And just before we finish, we've run a little bit over, but I'm not too worried. Have you got any other words of wisdom for everybody today?
Please, for the love of God, stop asking people what other people charge. It is literally the most useless bit of information you will ever see. For two reasons, very quickly. One, that person's price is probably not right for them. Statistically, about 80% of people copy or guess their prices. So you're copying off someone who's copying off someone who's copied off someone who's copied off someone. And also, even if those prices are absolutely amazing for them, they're not right for you. So let's never ask it again. Let's get rid of things like going rate or for my area, etc., etc. Your pricing is purely about you and what you want out of life, how you work, the tools that you use, what your costs are, how you want to work, and so on. Just let's not ask it, okay? That's my word of wisdom.
Now.
Yeah,
definitely.
It causes more harm than good, because people see it and go, oh, am I expensive, or am I really cheap, and should I be competing and comparing against this person? And it just means it just genuinely means nothing. It gets in people's head. So yeah, pricing is just totally about you and no one else.
It's amazing. Thanks ever so much today, Maddi. It's been fantastic. For everybody, we will be back next week. We have Alex talking about how to prevent no-shows with online and in-person deposits. So get your prices sorted and then join us next week, and you can get your deposits sorted as well. We will see you all next week. Have a lovely rest of your week, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.